Home and Hosed was sort of brought about from my experiences of working at Hazelhurst for 2 years. I moved to Sydney from Adelaide 2 years ago to take up the role of curator at Hazelhurst, and I was really new to the area, and I went into the Shire with no knowledge of artists in the area or much history really of the place. So I wanted to do a local show of local artists to reflect the sort of artistic diversity here, the excitement that's happening around the area. Yeah, it feels like a real honour and a real thank you for me to be able to do this exhibition. I kind of like it.
My name's Dolman. I moved to Sydney, Australia, Allawa and Blakehurst. I lived in Blakehurst as well for a while. My parents still live at Hurstville Grove now, and I come and visit all the time. I live in Melbourne now. Yeah, I love the suburbs. There's something that endears me to them, or them to me. Yeah, just that red brick, everything about it, interiors, exteriors. Yeah, something that is maybe sort of unique to this area.
So what I'm thinking here,
my practice engages painting, printmaking, more recently video and performance. I just make things and the materials will be decided on depending on what the concept is. My idea for this piece was sick of just making work on paper and multi-panelled pieces, large scale, and pinning them up on a wall, and that was it. I wanted to see what else I could do and really question the idea of what is the artwork. So I decided to high jump one of my big pieces. Just a really fun way of working with an already seemingly finished artwork, but in doing so it became a performance, and the print became a prop for the artwork. I did not clear it, and I only showed the one attempt on a loop. And I guess the whole thing sort of was about that inherent failure in art, where you just will never get anything really perfect. It's never going to be right, but it's just the joy of making mistakes and not clearing the bar, which keeps you going back for more.
My name's Linda Draper, and I actually grew up here. I went to Woolooware High School, and then I went to COFA and went to art school at COFA. I ended up teaching at the Ceramic Design Studio at Guy Mere TAFE. I've done a lot of work about actually growing up in the Shire, mainly about the objects. One sort of pivotal point was when my parents sold their house in Woolooware Road, the red brick house. It was just full of like 50 years of objects. I sort of unpacked the emotional responses that I had to those objects and produced a large series of work based on that. I'm very interested in sort of the metaphysical aspects of the domestic souvenir and how we hold on to objects that trigger memory, nostalgia, or some sort of sense of unease. With this new work that I'm doing, I decided that I wanted to go beyond the actual object and sort of switch into looking at what these objects and imagery that these objects conjured, who they reminded me of, where they came from, and then made these sort of almost like spirit images that are associated with the people and the time and the place. So going through those objects from my childhood home, it was almost like a cathartic kind of experience of sort of working through sort of the grief and the trauma that you feel when you addressing sort of change and loss that happens in your life. And I feel like even though you never really get to that stage of actually facing your mortality, I feel now that there is a freedom that I feel from working through that body of work.
Yeah. What's that song? Because I know
My name's Marc Etherington. I grew up in the Sutherland Shire in Gymea, and I've lived here all my life. Living in the Sutherland Shires had an impact on my art practice through, I think, being so isolated from what's going on in the other parts of the art world. Being removed from the city, I think kind of you develop your own sort of style or something. I can't seem to stop painting. I have a 4-year-old boy and I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I just have to paint whenever I can, whenever I get a chance. The paints are always out and I just got to go for it. So yeah, I do a lot of work. The subject matter that I mainly revolve around is my life being a stay-at-home dad, my surroundings, household packaging, pop culture, and things that I find funny. Just my sense of humour. Leaving the Shire, that was a sculpture. I know a lot of people who, if something's on in the city, it'll take a lot for them to get into the city because they don't like leaving the Shire. Yeah. I think I'm a bit that way myself.
My name is Nicole Kelly and I have lived in the Sutherland Shire for 23 out of my 25 years. I studied at the National Art School for 4 years and completed a Bachelor of Fine Art Honours in painting. In my 4th year, my last year at art school, I won the Brett Whiteley Travelling Arts Scholarship, which enabled me to travel overseas for 6 months. Over there I did a lot of drawing, drew continuously. I'm particularly interested in using the same people as subject matter because I feel that the more I return to the subject, I learn to see differently and anew each time, and that's very exciting for me. And I feel that I can make an overall statement about the subject the more I draw them. I just know I couldn't not make art. For some reason I'm driven to come home and make something every day. I love it, I hate it. It drives me insane, but I have to make it.
Antichrist is a Sydney artist who is now based in Berlin. She's more than just an artist. I would describe Anto as being a living artwork. I guess her practice is very much a lifestyle as much as it is about creating objects and creating art. When you see Anto, she really, the way she dresses, the way she presents herself, her personality is so vibrant and colourful and theatrical. So that element is throughout her practice. She works across painting, soft sculpture, performance, costume, a whole range of mediums. I guess these are the 2D manifestations of the sculptural work, and to me these are almost like these subconscious purges with these sort of post-apocalyptic feel to them. I mean, this is almost figurative to me, bordering on portraiture, whereas the other work in the show is a lot more abstract. They are related, not only in their colour, but in this concern with, you know, a post-apocalyptic world and nature and natural organic forms, which you can find throughout this work and in the sculptural work. I think another important sub-theme in the exhibition is this relationship to nature and the environment, and being at one with the environment and using the environment as a tool to heal. And even though somebody's work like Anto, who's so bright and almost superficial in terms of an environmental depiction, it doesn't look real, but there's still this element of healing and unification with Mother Nature. And then there are other works which are sort of more representative of nature, like Gemma Messih's work. And that work is also about not so much personal healing necessarily, but healing the environment and giving warmth and energy back.
My name's Gemma Messih. I'm an artist currently living and working in Sydney. I grew up in a suburb called Peakhurst, which is in the St George region. In my early teens, we moved to Lugano, which is by the Georges River. So in my practice, I look at the human relationship to or interaction with natural phenomena, living in the bush and like a 10-minute walk to the river. I think it's had a big impact. And I notice it in myself when I spend too long in the city. I get quite anxious, I think, and need to go back. In the first work, A Second Chance, I went with local council workers the week before the exhibition opened. We went to the site of a rotting eucalyptus tree. With them, I chose a branch and I recorded it on video for 30 seconds just to look at the wind movements around it. They cut down the tree. I'm aiming to recreate its last wind with the use of 4 fans. The thing I look at in my practice is the wider human experience of natural phenomena, but it's also so much about my own experience of the natural world, so using myself as a kind of medium for experience. But this kind of working method, I think, encourages chance and humour and this kind of honest pursuit to connect with something that's much bigger than us.
Well, my name is John A. Douglas. I actually was born in the Sutherland Shire and grew up here. I had this fantastic view of over the Warrenora Valley at the back of Engadine Heights, and I always used to photograph that and photograph sunsets and things like that. So I guess in a way that's played into my practice still now, where I still explore ideas around a landscape and Australian landscape painting through new media works and photography and video. I wanted to do something for a long time where I'd integrated my photographic practice with my dialysis treatment, which might sound a bit strange, but for me this was a part of my practice, my everyday life. I went about looking for particular landscapes that evoked, ideas around science fiction, ideas around the body connected to a life support machine, and also the way the body and this system that I use of the peritoneal dialysis, how it's very similar to the way natural geographical phenomena occur, like lakes and rivers and waters and water tables and salt and all of those kinds of things. This whole idea of rejuvenation, because every day I have a treatment, I'm basically given another chance to stay alive. When you're on life support, you realise that you're on this fine edge, of how fragile life is, are you dying, are you living, are you surviving, what's going on here? It becomes very blurred. And I think now, as everyone is conscious of now, the same thing is happening with the planet. It's on a very fragile, axis in terms of which way it's heading. And so there is a subtext as well about the fragility of the health of the planet.
I'm an earth artist because I work with materials from the earth. I think living close to the Royal National Park certainly had a big influence on my work. Even when I was a jeweller, I made work from natural materials. So sticks and stones, shells, that sort of thing. And then my work shifted when I went to Tasmania for quite a long period of time into more installation work. It's called Healing Mandala, 365 offerings. And it was made at a time when I was going through a bit of a midlife crisis, and I sort of needed healing. I love going out looking for things, I'm still a child going around picking up shells and identifying things too. It's quite fun to identify what you've picked up, and I like the devotional and care and love that goes into the work. And I feel the same when I'm making it, every little funny little bit, and it might be a broken little bit of jawbone or something from a wallaby, and I just, they're just so precious. So to me, they're almost like jewellery. They're these precious things from the environment.
I think it's really exciting to show incredibly contemporary, edgy and challenging work that's coming out of this region. So I really hope audiences outside of the Shire can see that. And for audiences more locally, it's really a celebration. It's a celebration of the talent and the maturity in this work, and the talent in the Shire, and the career trajectory of these artists, and that have all come from here or spent time here at some point in their life.